Welcome to Humanity Unboxed. Welcome, Michael. I'm glad to see you're alive.
I
And the
am.
sun seems to be shining a little bit on your side. Um, Value. I've kind of made everything around the themes in the Wisdom Seekers Society. So, our theme for June in the Wisdom Seekers is adding value. But I thought let's start with what is value? Well, who decides what, yeah, what do you
Okay.
think
Okay.
about value?
So, and I haven't thought about it a lot about it, but I thought a little bit about it since I actually recognized 3 days ago that this is the topic we're talking about. It went totally be lost, but I'm always lost. As you know, as neurodivergent, you're always lost. So, so my question is, what is value? Because I see the same with education that everybody wants to fix education and everybody wants to add value, but nobody knows what is the sense of value today, because the 400 years ago or 500 years ago, even 100 years ago, value was different. So
Yeah.
what is value? What is valued? And so I think that I've been going back to the system relevant and human centricity.
Hmm.
I think we need to look at value in both things. So human centric is first, as always. It's we are one of one humans, collective creator animal of nature. Our true fit is not hierarchical, but it is hierarchical. It's synergistic. That's
Hmm.
why you don't fall in love with every woman. You don't fall in love with every man. You just find the right whatever you need at that time.
Hmm.
So I think in human centricity, and this has always helped me, and actually that should show you how I solve a problem, because whatever our decision making is the hardest thing. The biggest stress in humanity is the biggest stress is decision making, and you can't really make a decision when you don't segregate it in human centricity and system relevance. Because one is the game we play, right? The system is the game. That's the monopoly, the chess, whatever we play. But the human centricity are what we are. So we are by nature one of one.
Hmm.
That means we are valuable, because there's not, okay, there's the little gods, there's the little thing, and there's the little nobodies. That doesn't exist. Beggars and billionaires don't exist in nature. So basically, if you know what your value is or not, by your being existence, you have value, because we know in nature there's make mistakes, and nature doesn't have surplus, right? It doesn't have, oh, we have too many apples, so we create too many elephants. Let's just kill them all. I mean, it's not existence. It's always the right. That's why we can negotiate with nature. We have to accept it and adapt and dance with nature. So
Yeah.
I think the value of human centricity is given, and it actually is called worth. You have worth because you are alive. You're one of one. That's why you're one of one. That's why we keep going back to our one of one,
Yeah.
because that is clarifying. Because I can be the best in nature, and I can be zero system relevant. So I can be a bird that keeps all the birds happy and whatever, and I can go to the system relevance. Okay, it's a bird. It's like, how much is the bird? $12. Boom, that's that. So the value in nature is worth, and what has value in nature is uh, it's food. Oh, this is our hunter and gatherer, and he got us food, so that has value for us to survive. Also, that is value to survive, and animals, learn very quickly where the value is, where to get the value, where to get the food. Um, right? I mean, you have animals,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
they have value, right? They go probably more to your daughter than to you or to your husband, because they like the daughter more, so it is valuable for them. Or is it? The question is, or is it the vibration that they vibrate more synergistically to your daughter? I'm just saying that, it's not.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of what is, value is something we created. It's not necessarily, I mean, my Marvel cat doesn't value things. She values the fact that there's food in her bowl, and if there isn't, she's going to make sure that I know that she needs food in her bowl. But what you were saying now kind of brings me back to, you mentioned education. Teaching a fish to climb a tree is never going to work, is it? So it's that kind of aspect of the subjectivity of value. What I value. There's so many things going through my head. I mean, we box things. Even system relevance and human centricity are boxes that we've created so that we can understand the world around us. But for us to feel that we are of value is something that we seem to have to relearn as we get older and we connect more to our human centricity. As to, we are not the things we have. It's I don't want to jump the gun because we're going to get to this point of validation.
In the system relevance also when we come, but human centrically, what has value and what do you feel? Because you have animals, I have some dogs here and then, but you have you live with animals. So what do you feel represents value for them? For, like you said with the kitty, that was really interesting. So it has value, and it goes, or is it survival that she just goes? There's no food, and she has,
See, I have two cats. So the one cat is out hunting, where the other cat is much more dependent on whether there's food in her bowl or not. And that kind of highlights the fact the subjectivity of value as well. So what is important to me, how I feel valued, is different than how you feel valued, or my daughter or my husband. It's coming back almost to that concept of love languages. What makes me feel seen, that is what I am going to value, or what I'm going to put value on, possibly.
Could be. Let's leave it open. Let's jump to system relevance. So in system relevance, it is because we created systems, and we said that story that when there's a tribe, somebody has to take care of or they choose, okay, Michelle is the best with kids, let's give her all the kids and we bring her food with us. So the value is because you were good in systems. That was the human centric, how it went to in the system. So you were the best with kids, I was the best with horses. So they gave me the horses, another person is the best with the sheep. So or the food. So we segregated to actually, that's the essence of systems, that allows us to expand more, not just survive, to expand more of the perception that we have, the awareness that we have. And that was the shift, the natural shift. Now the natural shift became to that had the value for all humans, because you love to be with the kids, I love to be with the horses. I mean, it's a dream job, right? A dream job. And you had that. You had your ability was represented in your task that you had to do in the tribe, in the system. So what happens was that it grew more and more and more. Our systems, we had hospitals, we built this. And then all of a sudden it became, when the money came, it was still a representation of the value was, the money was the number of the money, or the weight of the gold, or was the representation of your work as with the kids, right? So instead of bringing you food home or from the hunt, the next level was, we pay you and then you can go to the food vendor or to the horse trader like me, and then get and buy that. So you evaluated what you do with your
For the tribe, yeah.
tribe, and that was aligned. That was all aligned. Now, when the money became, so what if you see, this is the thing, when you say, I want to be an artist, I want to just play flute, and people say, no, we need to do something, we need to build the tribe bigger and whatever, and you just sitting in the flute. The people gave you something to eat, but they didn't give you money, perhaps. And that's where the value changed, because what was more, the tribe become bigger and more systemic, and the less your it was not that we still take care of each other, but it was more not, some people don't get paid. Somebody gives you, I give the beggar a horse that isn't the best horse. You give him food that is left over. So because we perceive the perceived value, the flute player could actually, because we are art fiends here, right? So the flute player could actually make the whole thing in the flow and bring the whole tribe in a flow state, but people are not aware. So it's the same thing then today. People are all unaware, or mostly unaware, And I think that shifted the value, the value in the system to more and more whatever the system needs is paid. And I think that is the thing. So if the system needs to have builders to build the new houses in the tribe, those people get paid. Or if we can motivate people to pay, to build more, we pay them more. We pay them more. And so,
but only for him to be surviving, only for him to be wanting to do that. If there are other builders that would do it for less, then we're going to pay them. So we're not really.
That was later.
Yeah.
Because I think in the old days they looked for somebody that could really do a house that can actually survive a storm, not just somebody that says, I can build that. So it moved further to to where it needs to be all the money. Money was connected to value. So money started to be connected to value more and more. First, it was the representation, because our example, I make hammers, you make chicken. How many hammers do you need? I can't just trade it.
Yeah.
So when the money and the value became more the system relevant. So if you would have needed a flute player, that you could get that cheaper, and because the system didn't need the flute player, the system needs builders for the house. And I think our perception in value became not what the one of us needs, but what the society needs, the tribe needs. And therefore, and that's why I say be aware of system relevant and human centric, because it gives you answers like this. It gives you literally answers. Why, what happened? I'm not saying align to nature and go back to nature. No. I'm just saying this is the value became. I think it taught us, it conditioned us to see what is valuable in a system. For example, a wedding planner, it's important. It's very rare. There's like, if there's 3 tribes and there's only one in one tribe is a wedding planner, it is needed for the system, and so we condition ourselves more and more what the system needs versus what the human needs. And
that's where we're losing the meaning of value, perhaps.
Yeah.
As to the meaning of it is very unclear. There was a video thing that went viral about, it was a violinist who was very famous. People paid hundreds of dollars to watch him, in play big shows.
Joshua Bell was in the subway. Yeah.
That's it. And in the subway, no one were hardly stopped, or, kind of. So it's also that environment awareness, subjectivity, of what do we value?
No, what does the system value? Because if you were really in your one-on-oneness and you love violin music and you're not going to a concert because it's Joshua Bell, then you would stop and listen to him and say, oh, this guy's really good. But it doesn't matter. You know he's Joshua Bell because you couldn't tell the difference,
Yeah.
But you would say, oh, this guy's good, especially when you don't play yourself violin.
Yeah.
So it's the distortion. And I think we should be aware of that. It's so good that we talk about it, because I appreciate that we actually think about this. Our perception of value is, because we you and I propagate that we are one-on-one, and that always aligns us to, and what is the one-on-one value for us? What is the value for us? And I think that it depends on the fulfilling, because, I mean, basically we all have to eat. All right. So we need to have food, and that's the essential thing. But there's extra things. So we like to paint. So we like paint. It has a value to pay for paint and a canvas to create a painting.
Yeah.
I might want to collect stamps, and for me, the aesthetics of stamps transforms me, brings me into stories in other worlds and whatever. And that's why I pay money for the stamps. But I can do it another way and say I buy stamps as an investment, where the value is different. One is a human-centric value. The aesthetics transforms me, brings me in the thing. And the other one is an investment. Well, I need the Blue Mauritius stamp to sell it somewhere in the future, or to be one of 5 people that has so that would be ego. I'm one of 5 people that owns the value, the value of that physical thing that I acquired. So I think where the value, also there's 2 things. There's in life, there's value and there's worth. We have worth, that's natural, that's given. And there's value, and the value is all kind of things that are external, because we are running human centrically, but pretend to be system relevant. So I like to have, I come to you, want to have a glass of wine, and I value that there is a musician in your town that I know from last time I was at your town, and I want to listen to that, and there's value, and I pay $100 for that musician, or $200 or whatever. Yeah. So there has to, for me, the emotional value. If I don't appreciate wine with you, I would buy the cheapest wine, and just have a wine. So for the, the system relevant, okay, we're polite. But if I think I come to your house, I'm invited, I bring you a very good red wine, and you say, oh my God. And so it's the emotional value that is transformed. How can I get my emotional value financially? As it always turns into financially, because I have to buy it. But it's not the money that I spend, because otherwise I would say, I'm not going to pay $60 for a bottle of wine when I get one for $4.
Yeah.
So it's not that. It's the but the optimal would be that I know all the $4 wines, and I get you a $4 wine that tastes like a $60 wine, because that's all marketing too. It's all system distort value.
So I mean, there is also value in human centricity. There's not just value in system relevance.
Yeah.
Because we bring value, worth is something I have within myself, but I can also add value to my environment, or to my world, or to my work, by doing what I love, but also by doing it all full-heartedly, making sure that I take the time and spend it on the details of making it the way that I love to do it, because I value how you're going to perceive it, how you going to, you can, embrace it or see it, or so there's value in there as well, which is not connected to any form of money or payment or anything like that.
It's an emotional gratification, a fulfillment. We talked about fulfillment before, right? Fulfillment is for you different than for me. So I might bring you a glass of wine and you would say, Michael, I really love that you come back and give me a kiss on the cheek. I mean, that is a different, it's a different thing. So, I think whatever fulfills us, the value has what fulfills us personally. The true value, even in the system relevance, is because if a Ferrari fulfills you, you need to buy a Ferrari. I mean, you need to do everything to drive a Ferrari, to experience a Ferrari, because if that's what fulfills you, then you need that. But if you don't, I don't need to buy a Ferrari because I'm fulfilled without one. So I don't need to buy a Ferrari, So so the value is what literally, I think the essential thing is the value is what fulfills you. The value is what fulfills you emotionally. And if that is, some people eat a can of sardines and that fulfills them, and other people need to eat a 7-star dinner or whatever, or a course dinner to be happy, to be fulfilled in the, with food. Some people can eat anything, and some people need to eat especially that. And it's a fulfillment of it, even if it's a false belief. If I think, if I eat that oil, that chemical oil, and eat that chemical food, it fulfills me. That's, even if it's that, it's the fulfillment that drives it. It doesn't mean it's right or wrong. There's no right value and wrong value. It's what fulfills me. I can,
but it's also what is value. What do you value? Because as you say, not everybody values a Ferrari. Like, it doesn't mean anything to me. It's a fancy car, looks pretty, but it's not providing me with value, where for someone else it might, because it gives them that fulfillment.
It doesn't arrive, because if enough value, you would go at least to Ferrari shows. You would go, I mein, if you say I can't afford it, but you would still go there. So it's enough value that you actually give it attention, because we always choose every second, we see all the stuff, we get triggers all over, and we go where we expect fulfillment. So you hang out with this person, and you could have hang out with 50 friends, but you invite that friend because that you expect the fulfillment. And even if it's totally wrong, and it can be a disaster that friend comes over, you receive value, expect value that fulfills you, enough value that fulfills. So if you choose between two, you choose one that you think will, showed up in the past. And that's why consistency is important, because you showed in the past and had that experience, and it fulfills you, and that gives you the value. But what value, I think, in the whole thing of value, we got to see that you might have no value as a human systemically, but a very, very valuable. For example, if you are a person that goes into church, or like Mother Teresa, or you are in a hospice to help people, and then it's not a job. It's just you just like retire. So if I would say, I'm retired, I'm gonna just go into hospice, help people to transit over, As how much that does that, even the nurses that nurse you, and all the personnel, the first responses. I mean, it's the hyped up value, and the real value that the people really have. And for example, you and I should be super rich, right? Because we provide a lot. I think. I mean, in our logic, we should be super rich, because people want to talk to us, they learn, they grow, we set seeds. They think, and it's not the fact. we don't care. We don't care. I mean, we want, but
Be nice.
we don't have 1 million viewers on our podcast either. And
Yeah.
we're okay with that. Yeah, and we have to
Yeah.
be transparent with that.
Mm.
And so I think I think that it's really, I think it's clear to say I shouldn't be upset when somebody likes a Ferrari, and I shouldn't be upset because somebody doesn't like this, and he doesn't like Taylor Swift or whatever, because it has for everyone their own one-on-one value. And we come again to the circle. It's about the one-on-oneness, because that defines and asks and demands value, I think. I don't know.
Now, I wonder, I'll leave us with this quick question as to, I wonder how much value is never seen because there's never a feedback to it. So how many people don't provide value to the world because there isn't a return on it?
Yeah, because we do what is system relevant, and we talked about that. It's never enough in a system. So I'm never seeing the world because I'm in a fight flight, and we also talked about that too. Money equals survival.
Yeah.
So you have the money equals survival forces the value to be diminished, because when money equals survival, then I do average, do quantity instead of quality. I do fast instead of slow.
Yeah.
Naturally slow. So it devaluates. System relevance devaluates because it puts us in a time constraint. It puts us in fight or flight. We have to. Money equals survival, meaning money is value is survival. So no, that's it. Value is money equals survival. And so when you have the triad there, then and this is what you and I shared, right? When you don't see the abundance that you have.
Yeah.
I think the point of this talk was literally comes in right now, because you don't see the abundance, and when you focus only on money to survive, you will literally let life go by, and be in the system relevance that is binary and linear, and says, "Come on, hurry up, current." And I think, and as you know from our neurodiversity, I think that we are just more sensitive. That's all. I think everybody has neurodiversity, So the point that's out is crazy, because we know there's no the same.
No human is the same. So creating these labels.
Exactly. And the labels are a problem. The labels are the problem, and we need labels because of language, but they're really how we interact with labels and generalize them and say, okay, she's a woman. Okay, I know he's a guy, and we're focusing currently on all these system created things of transgender, binary, whatever, and we don't even see. We say global warming, and then there's wars, and then we kill all these people in the wars, and we are not. Also, we don't see that the highest suicide rate that man ever had is now. Men have never, but men are systemically not valued right now. It's because they were suppressing the woman, and even though the more women graduate in America than men, much more. So Holland took over, was taken over by a woman totally. And the men don't, that the pendulum just swims in the other way. I'm not saying, oh, we are so poor, but we don't even see that, because everybody's focused on system relevance. How can I make that one-of-one human system relevant? And that's distorts the value, because every human has value. We know that everybody's a one-on-one. Otherwise, everybody would be the same. And then you can compare. Then you can judge and compare. If everybody's the same, you can.
Yeah, but we can't. Not all men, not all women, and I think it's this is a big conversation. But I mean, there is a space for each, the feminine and the masculine, and we need to find a way to move these feminine and masculinity conversations so that there's a balance in. I mean, as we've said before, women have masculine aspects in them, and men
much
have
more
feminine
often than men. Much more often than men, and men are more feminine than everyone that I've seen.
Yeah, and we need to be able to embrace ourselves and each other outside of these labels, whether it's
as
man, woman,
one-on-one,
as
one-on-one. We need to embrace each other as one-on-one, and that is the value. So if you want to experience value, start looking at each as one-on-one. Then you can and segregate system relevance with, because human-centric is the one-on-one. It doesn't exist in system relevant right now. But if you see the one-on-one value, the bottom line of value is to start seeing people as one-on-one. Then you will see the real value, and not and if you stay home human-centric, you will not run out of stress and freak out and everything. So we will actually dance with other humans and nature.
Yeah. Well, problem solved. We know what value is.
That's it. Let's go next. System relevant. Let's go. Done that. Nobody wants to be where we are, but it's done. Yeah, we're just done.
Yes. So thank you, Michael. Next week, we're going to carry on with this conversation, and we're going to have a look at validation and what that brings to the concept of seeing value.
Also the lack of validation. The lack of validation, right?
Yeah, lack of validation. That's huge. Thank you very much. Chat soon.